Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Today we're going to be taking a look at my top 10 favorite inserts that come in board games. So what the heck is an insert? Well, an insert is generally going to be a piece of plastic or something that comes inside of the box of a board game, and it's going to help you organize all the components. And as you know, this channel, we love organizing things, and a good insert makes things so nice to get started and play. I love it. Now, sometimes people will create their own custom inserts. Like Broken Token is a company that makes nice wooden inserts for their games. And man, can you just see the quality here. Everything has its own component. Players have their own colored trays that they're going to pull out. You make sure that your monsters are nice and secure. That way they don't get damaged. Lovely. But sometimes that's pretty cost prohibitive, and some people just don't really want to spend that extra money, and they would like their game to just come like that. Now, some companies have even gone the extra mile, and their whole thing is creating inserts. So this is a game trays insert. This is specifically for the game Euphoria by Stonemaier Games, and this is perfectly made for the game. You have all the different dice for the different players, the different player colors, and then you have these resource trays that you can pull out and put on the different sides of the table. Amazing. So some of the inserts on this list are going to be game trays, and they're super top-notch quality. So I love the evolution, how inserts come as this basic plastic and they'll fit everything, to evolving into something like maybe 3D printed resources or wood, all the way up to something that is custom made for a game that's going to come in everything that is also cost effective. So really cool, lots of great options for organizing in inserts. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on this list. And before we begin, I do want to mention that this is a companion video for my collaboration with BoardGame Co. Over on his channel, we're going to be talking about our top 10 board games that you really need a good insert for in order to get to the table more. So once again, this is a companion piece. This is for the games that have great inserts, and that video is going to be for the games that need inserts. Now, we do have a couple of honorable mentions before we start as well, so let's go ahead and dive into those. I'm going to mention them briefly. So the first game I want to talk about is Brass Birmingham. In Brass Birmingham, you have this very nice tray that is going to store things very basically. So it's not a crazy insert, but I did want to mention this, specifically the deluxe edition of Brass Birmingham. It has this nice tray in the middle here that's going to store all of your poker chips, which is really nice that you don't have to plan something extra to store those. So just very minor thing, the fact that it accommodates those poker chips is really nice. Another quick honorable mention is for A Feast for Odin. Now this game doesn't organize everything right out the box, so you will need to get some things to kind of store components, but it does provide these 3 plastic trays. So these 2 plastic trays, and these trays are going to hold all of your resources. And this game comes with a bunch of these polyomino pieces, and so having these trays to visually see how they're all going to upgrade and get better is super nice, and just having those included is so helpful. Really great quality of life improvement there. But once again, not a incredible organizer because it's only for those tiles, but wow, it's awesome. And then the last honorable mention is for Chronicles of Crime. So Chronicles of Crime is really cool because every single card fits into each one of these compartments. It also has room for all of the expansions, which is super awesome, and it all fits in this core box. Now, the reason this isn't on this list is because it doesn't accommodate anything sleeved. And in our library, we sleeve all of our cards and everything, and this one just does not work well for sleeving. So, but I do like the idea here, and I think they did a great job incorporating the expansions as well, so you can just simply add them to your core box. So that's awesome as well. And that's my honorable mention list. So let's go ahead and jump into number 10. So number 10 is going to be the most simple organizer on here, but the most effective. And this is going to be Heroes of Tenefyr. This is a deck building game where you're going to be going from dungeon to dungeon, facing progressively more difficult monsters, and adding them to your deck as your own ability cards. So really cool, but in this game there's a lot of cards. So when you set up each dungeon, you want to organize your different monsters by level, and you're going to want to pick the stack of hero cards that you're going to be using for your specific character. Now that being said, the organizer is so straightforward. So this is it. It's simply just 2 rows here. And that's all you really need, and it works super well. Now, the other cool thing that this game comes with is it comes with dividers for all your cards. So right off the bat, it's going to fit all cards, and it fits them sleeved perfectly. So everything fits in here super nicely. Every card is sleeved. Everything works well. It incorporates space for the expansion as well, so no wasted space. In here, it looks like there's some extra. That's because the expansion's not in here and there's no sleeves. But when you have everything, it is a perfect fit. Oh my gosh, I love it. And once again, you're going to want to be setting up your different characters, and so you'll leave that on one side of the box and then the monsters on the other side of the box. So it's really easy to see things, really easy to get started, and a great way to jump into this game. So that's my number 10 on best inserts. That's going to be Heroes of Tenefyr. Simple, but so effective. Love inserts like this. Up next, we have my number 9. This is going to be Mechs vs. Minions. Now, Mechs vs. Minions is a programming game where you're going to be taking these Yordles, these League of Legends characters, and squashing a bunch of minions. So that's the premise of the game, and this game has a whole bunch of minions. So it's got rows after rows after rows of enemy that you're going to be taking out, and they employ game trays. So like I mentioned earlier in Euphoria, this has an entire game tray system. So this is what it looks like right off the bat when you open the box. You've got stacks on stacks on stacks of trays, as well as awesome rule books and pamphlets for the different scenarios. This game is so thematic when you open it up. It just feels like you're in this world. You even have this box with something breaking out in the corner. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but super cool. And each of these compartments has its own thing inside. So as we look inside here, here's somebody with painted miniatures, but look at these trays. They're going to hold every single minion in here, and you'll just put them on the table because you're going to be grabbing handfuls of these. You also got spots on the board for each of your dice and gems and other tokens that you might use based on the scenario. So I really like that there's a place for everything in here because it is scenario specific. It's going to be nice to be able to just know where to grab those from. In addition, I really like game trays because they do this really awesome thing with the miniatures, is they actually design the spots for miniatures, you see them here, so that they fit every single sculpt. And that is so cool. So there's 3 different types of minions here. There's one with like an axe above his head, one with on the side, and one holding a shield. Each of those spaces fits every type. And that's across the board. So that is amazing. Another game that barely missed this list is The Reckoners, and The Reckoners' organizing system is incredible, and it's very similar to this, where each of the characters that you choose is going to fit nicely into each space. So I want to include that here as well, but awesome, awesome organizer. This is for Mechs vs. Minions. My number 8 is going to be 5-Minute Mystery. This game is exactly what it says. It's a 5-minute real-time game where you're going to be digging through tiles, trying to find clues, and what facilitates this fast gameplay is a fast insert. And I love this insert. So this insert is very straightforward. On the top, you've got the location cards. Underneath, you've got the different challenge cards, and then you have the codex itself, and then you have the stacks of cards and for the characters, and then the stacks of the items. And that's it. And you're ready to go. You simply pop, pop, shuffle, display, you're good to go. It's insane. This super speeds up the game. It's going to get it played even more, and this game is already based on this super small time frame, so having the insert to facilitate that is incredible. Once again, a very simple, very straightforward insert, but amazing. It fits sleeves cards, it keeps everything super nice, and you can even shuffle the tiles as you're putting them in when you're finished, and then it'll be ready for the next round as soon as you're ready to go for the next time you pull this out. So love it. Fantastic design. That is the insert for 5-Minute Mystery. Up next is going to be number 7, Through the Ages. So Through the Ages, A New Story of Civilization, is this fantastic civilization game where you're going to be building your empire over time. And you'll be doing this by jumping from age to age to age. And each age is going to introduce new cards, and you're going to be able to get a lot of resources, new political and military actions, and hopefully take down all of your opponents that are doing the same thing. So really cool. Now this game is played in ages, and that being said, the insert facilitates those ages. So if you look here, this is what the insert looks like. It's once again a little more simple, but it works so well, and it works beautifully. Each of these slots is going to have space for you to put the specific cards for each age. And it also has ways that you can separate these ages based on player count, the types of card they are. It is just a super efficient system, and it's very visually helpful as well. You can say, okay, these are the 3s, these are the 2s, these are the 1s. You also have trays for the different pieces for your population and your resource markers. You've got the different markers for your characters that you can simply put in their own slots as well. And there's even room for the New Wonders expansion that is out for this game. So it's going to be able to fit everything, which is so cool. I love that these larger games are going to be helped by their inserts, and I think this does a great job with it. So once again, not the flashiest thing in the world, but man, if it doesn't get the job done. So that's my number 7, Through the Ages. Number 6 is going to be Hostage Negotiator Crime Wave. So this is the standalone sequel to the Hostage Negotiator game, and this you play a negotiator. Your job is to rescue as many victims as you can and prevent the kidnapper from escaping. So that's your job, is to save lives, and I think that is such a cool theme, and this game facilitates it really, really well. But what's really cool about this standalone sequel is that its insert has a spot where you can put the original game in. And how cool is this? So not only do you have these trays that are going to facilitate setup, you have these dividers that are going to help you organize the cards so you're ready to go for each game, because the setup on this is very quick. You pick a dude, you pick a negotiator, and then you assemble your terror deck really quick. So really easy to assemble, especially with these inserts helping out. And you even have a way to make it portable, and that's through the base box. You can bring some scenarios with you in a tiny little container, that way you don't have to bring it all, and I think that is awesome. So I love that this incorporates the base game into the expansion, and it does such a great job. So that's my number 6, Hostage Negotiator Crime Wave. Up next, my number 5, we're going to talk about Lisboa. So Lisboa is a Vital Lacerda game. It is one of the heavier games that I've played in a while, and this game is so beautiful. Oh man, I love the artwork in this. It has you playing in the city of Lisbon. Your job is to rebuild it after it's been devastated by an earthquake, a flood, and a fire, and you're going to be trying to do your best to revitalize this beautiful city. So as you're clearing the rubble, you're building buildings, and what's better to facilitate this game with lots of components and lots of pieces than an amazing insert. Now these Vital Lacerda and Ian O'Toole, Eagle Griffin games usually come with a wonderful insert that's going to facilitate gameplay, and Lisboa is no exception. This one I think does it the best. Just take a look at this thing. So it's going to fit your cards really well, lots of different spots for the components. It fits sleeved and unsleeved cards. You do have to get a little creative with how you do it, but it does it well. But my favorite thing here is in the corners here. In these corners, these trays, you actually can take out of the insert. And that's amazing because they can hold all your tokens, your coins, everything. You can put them on the different sides of the table and you are ready to go. You have them on the board. You have them set up. And I think that's amazing. I love the trays that you can just take out and put wherever you need. And I think Lisboa does it really well. In addition, it has all of the player boards underneath here. It's packaged really appropriately. It makes a lot of sense with the way it's stored and the space that you're going to be using. I think they did a rock solid job with the organizer for Lisboa. So that's my number 5, Lisboa. My number 4 is Pax Pamir 2nd Edition. The Pax Pamir 2nd Edition has you playing as an Afghani tribe, and it's your job to manipulate these powers that are in your area in order to get dominance and win the whole game. So at its heart, this is a card game that's going to be utilizing all of these little markers and these giant blocks and placing them on the board to show who's got control over certain areas. And this game does a wonderful job with its insert and how it actually facilitates the gameplay. So let's go ahead and take a look. So first off, right at the top, you're going to see a rolled up mat. So I think that's really awesome. They have a dedicated space for the playmat in there. There's also spots that you can use as you see fit. And you can also add outside inserts if you want, if you don't want to use bags, and they do fit well as well. There's a large trench at the bottom that's going to fit your cards. And my favorite piece is actually here in the center. This is a small plastic container that's going to hold all those blocks. And these are for the different countries that are populating the area with their soldiers. So you're actually going to pull that piece out and it's going to sit on the table. And the reason this is awesome is because at a glance, you can take a look at these blocks and you can see who has more blocks on the board at any given time. And I think that is super small but super important because there is a huge part of this game where you're looking for who has the majority in certain areas. To have dominance, one character or one group has to have 5 more blocks than everybody else. So being able to look at a glance by just looking at this organizer, amazing. So once again, this is a very straightforward organizer, but I think it does its job so well and it facilitates gameplay. Love it. I love this one. So that's Pax Pamir 2nd Edition, my number 4. My number 3 game is going to be Cloudspire. So Cloudspire is this awesome large tower defense game where you play as a tribe of these cloud dwellers, and you're going to be sending out minions and heroes to take down your enemy fortress. So this game is by Chip Theory Games, which does a fantastic job on providing inserts for all of their games. And the base game for this has an incredible insert. So the way it does it is it actually is going to come in pieces. So it's not game trays, but it's very similar where you're going to have these large plastic component bins that are going to hold things, whether it be your neoprene tiles, your fortress bases, and they're form fitted to fit everything. And this game is really cool because you don't need sleeves or anything, so everything fits perfectly and you don't really have to make any modifications. So that being said, on the top here, you're going to have that large tray, and underneath, you're going to have these large racks of poker chips, which are super useful. You simply just pop the top off, grab the color you need, and you can leave the rest on the table, and boom, you have this organizer that also serves as a tray that you can grab things during the game. I love it. I love how simple it is. I love how straightforward it is, and I love how efficient they use the space in this box. So everything fits into this core box. Wonderful job. I really enjoy the way that they organize this here. So that's my number 3, Cloudspire. My number 2 is going to be Dwellings of Eldervale. This is a giant game where you're going to be taking a fantasy race and exploring a new land and hopefully settling and imbuing your clan with its magic. You're also going to be trying to dodge these monsters and gathering adventure cards and collecting treasures. So this game is crazy big, and oh my gosh, I love the way that the insert facilitates setting up the game and playing the game. It's another one of those crazy awesome ones. So right off the bat, when you choose a character, you're going to get this insert that is specific to your character. So you have your own player trays. Now this is game trays, so they did an awesome job here as well. They're going to actually provide the inserts for each character. So it's going to store all of your components. It has reminders on resource caps. It's going to tell you the cost of specific things. So all these little reminders here that just tell you what's going on. And the lid is actually going to be the board for the faction itself. So you have lots of cool things and things that just make sense with the design and creation of this game. In addition, it has resource trays that you're going to be putting all your resources, and it comes with 2 of them, so you can put them on both sides so everybody has something ready to go. You also have these large dungeon trays that are containing the treasures and whatnot, and then this game incorporates these large monsters, and these monsters can go into these giant trays. And just like a game like Mechs vs. Minions, Game Trace has made it so that every monster fits in every space, so you're never going to have an issue figuring out which one goes where. They also have a discard pile that's used to hold the tiles. This is just an overall banging insert. It's so good. So I love how this facilitates gameplay. I love how everything works super well. I love how players have their own unique tray that's also part of the organization system. Lovely game. This is my number 2 for organization, for the inserts in it. This is Dwellings of Eldervale. And the last game that I'm going to talk about, I had to put on this. This was a no-brainer on the list. This is going to be Wavelength. So Wavelength is a party game where you're going to be trying to connect with your teammates by giving them a word that fits somewhere in between 2 words. So if I say hotter and cold, I'm going to say something based on where this arrow is, and you're going to have to try to figure out where where to put the arrow to try to guess what I'm saying. But the big thing here is the presentation of this game. So when you put out Wavelength on the board, this is what it looks like. Oh my gosh. So you simply open the top, you stand up this central wheel, and then you put these little tokens on the sides, and you are ready to play the game. And the presentation is beautiful. It all stays in the box. It's all here. It's all ready to go, and I think that's amazing. I think that this is great for not only the presentation, but the gameplay itself. It makes an awesome stand. It shows all the information you need to. And it just is so functional. The wheel itself covers most of the pieces, so nothing is going to move around. And it is rife for expansions, and it has more room. Oh my gosh. I love this production. I love this insert. I think it totally makes sense. I think it facilitates you getting this game out and playing it, and it also helps out when you're playing. So this is a cut above the rest. The fact that the game is the insert, I think that's amazing. So this is my number 1 on the best inserts in board games. Howdy, Editing Mackenzie here. I just need to interject really quick. The more and more I thought about it, the more and more I think that The Reckoners needs to be on this list. So, Heroes of Tenefyr, you're kicked out. Sorry, I still love you. You can go to the honorable mentions. But man, Reckoners needs to be here. I'd probably put it in number 3. I don't know how I totally forgot about this, but my gosh, the insert for this game is amazing. So, Reckoners has you playing as a group of humans taking down these evil supervillains. And it facilitates this by using these big chunky dice, and you're going to be using your characters, moving around these giant locations and assigning these dice to take out these supervillains. And the insert for this is incredible. So let's take a look at the insert. So first off, we've got these nice trays for the dice, so you can simply just pull out the pieces you need. You've got an insert that fits sleeve cards in here. You've got the different boss boards, the different minor tokens and stat bars that you're going to need for the characters. And on top of that, you put all those characters, all the locations, and once again, the inserts facilitate the gameplay. They're actually game boards, and you're going to be slotting the dice in and the different pieces. Whew, amazing. And then on top of that, you've got specific containers for the different characters, and they fit that game trays rule where you can put any character in any spot. Amazing. And underneath that, you're actually going to have a component bin that's going to store all your pieces. And this is just incredible. When it's all set up, it looks something like this. You've got all of these pieces set up just by putting the trays on the board. Oh, it's amazing. So I needed to mention this. So once again, this would probably be number 4, maybe number 3. I have to think about it more, but I definitely think that this needs to be on here. I can't believe I forgot about it. So sorry about that, but I definitely wanted to add that in at the end here. And that is my list. So if you have any questions about what you saw here or any games that you think that I missed, please let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. What are your favorite inserts in board games? Are sleeving or non-sleeving a big issue for you when it comes to these inserts? Please let me know. Once again, I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow. We recently just made it to 600 subscribers, so really excited to move forward. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all your support, and thank you for everything. So thanks again. Side game strong, everybody. See ya.